while loop. Basically, a while loop is used to repeat a specific set of program until a given condition is met. If the numbers of repetition is not clear to us, then it is best to use a while loop. Or if the numbers of repetition is clear to us, then we can go for the for loop. In previous video, we have understood how to use for loop and different examples of for loop in MATLAB. And in next video, we are going to learn how to use if loop and nested if loop in the MATLAB. So here in this video, we are going to understand the while loop. For example, just imagine that you are having a robot and you want to run that robot in forward direction for 100 meter, right? So you can program your robot like this, or you can give condition like this: while your robot reaches 100 meter, it will walk in forward direction. So these are the different logical conditions where you can fit the while loop, where you can use while loop at its best. Now let us understand the syntax of while loop. In while loop, the very first word we use, it is while, and the followed by statement is a logical condition. Then there is a statement, and finally the last thing is end of loop. Let me give you an example where x is equal to 0 while x is less than 10. The initial value of x is 0 and it will go up to 10. So these are the different sequence that our x is going to follow. The statement is like this: x is equal to x plus 1. And finally, there is end of the statement. Here there are two important things that you need to be careful of. First thing is, whenever you are writing any logical variable, then you must define that variable before you write while. So before this line, you must define the value of that variable. Otherwise, what will happen if there is, when you have not defined this variable and you are placing the variable with some logical expression, then without any specific defined value of x, MATLAB will show error. I will just show you this thing while we implement this program. So this is the first very important condition to be followed. The second important condition is there has to be appropriate either increment or decrement in variable. Increment or decrement depends on your logical expression and the value of your x. Because you are not providing any increment or decrement in the value of x, then this while loop will become infinite loop, right? It will not end by its own. Likewise, we have studied in for loop, right? While loop has not specific numbers of repetition. It has infinite numbers of repetition if you are not providing appropriate increment or decrement to x. In this example, we are providing increment of 1 to the previous value of x. So gradually in every cycle, value of x increases, and once it reaches 10, right, it does not fulfill the condition. 10 is not less than 10, so it will directly jump to the end of the loop, right? So this is how we should write while loop, and these are the two conditions that you make sure it should be followed. Now let's jump to the MATLAB and implement this code and see what if we are not following these two conditions. Okay, so the program is ready, right? We'll run this program and see the output of the program, and then we'll check what if we are not following any of the previous two mentioned condition, and then we'll see what happens into the MATLAB. So first of all, let's run the program, and you can see that the value of x is presented. Initially it was 0 and then finally it is 10. So the program is running appropriately. Now what we'll do, we'll comment it. And we have cleared the variable from the workspace. And now let's run. So when we run the code, you can see there is undefined function or variable x. because how MATLAB functions, you need to understand this thing, how MATLAB functions. It run the code line by line. So when it reaches line 2, we are giving a logical expression while x is less than 10. So whenever you are expressing that when x is less than 10, then there must be a defined value of x. When you are not defining x, how good MATLAB understands that what is the value of x, right? So it is very simple and fundamental thing, right? But because this type of video I'm making for the beginners, so it is important to go through all these small details in the program. Now here, instead of this mathematical statement, let us write something else, like m is equal to 2x plus 1, right? And we'll comment it. So what we are doing, we are not providing any increment or decrement to x, right? And just run this loop, and you can see the program is still running. It is continuously, you can see in this corner, right? So this loop is continuously going on. It has become infinite loop. It is not at all going to stop any moment, right? So now let me pause this thing, right? So if you are not defining any incremental change or any decremental change in the value of x, then this loop going to be the infinite loop, right? Now let us do it again. This time we are defining increment in x, and let's run the loop. So here you can see x is 10, and we have got the different values of m, right? So this is what the importance of defining x previously and increment in x. Before we jump next, I would like to ask you a quick question. Your question is, what are the two important conditions of while loop that we have discussed in this video? So let us check really you have learned anything from this video or not. So write the answer of this question in comments below. And yeah, one more thing. Hit like and subscribe to this channel if you are really enjoying this video. So now let's get back to the video. Now we'll comment it and we'll write another program, and in that program we'll understand line by line what is happening in while loop. In second example, we'll go a little bit more realistic. We'll calculate the value of any factorial, right? Let's say 5 factorial or 7 factorial, right? So we'll calculate factorial using while loop. So for that, let us write the program. So here our program is ready. Now let us run the program, and then we'll understand how this program functions line by line. So we'll enter the value. Let's say we want to find the factorial of 5. So let's enter 5, and that is 120. Instead of every time clearing the workspace, you can directly write here. So all the previous value of x been cleared. And now let us run this program. Let's say factorial of 8, 40320. So now let us understand the program line by line. CLC clears the command window. Clear all clears all the variables stored in workspace. Then m is equal to input of enter value. It is used to take input from the user. Then we are defining I, which is basically equal to the user defined input m. Then the initial value of x is equal to 1. Then it will start the loop while I greater than 1. The initial value of m is given as 8. So here I is equal to 8, which is definitely greater than 1. So it will jump to the line number 14. X is initially 1. So 1 into 8 gives us 8. And here it shows x is equal to 8. Then I is equal to 8 minus 1, 7. So here we are defining a definite decrement. The value of I7 will again jump back to the line number 13, and it will does the process. It will keep on moving until we reach where I is equal to 1, and then finally I is equal to 1. So when I is equal to 1, it will again jump back to line number 13, where it will check the condition where 1 is greater than 1. It is no way greater than 1, so the statement is false, and it will directly terminate this while loop and jump to the end of the loop. And then finally, whatever the value of x we have, it displays at the end. So this is how the line by line process of while loop happens. So if you want to ask me anything else regarding this video, you can write in comment section below. And if you want to watch other videos on MATLAB tutorials, then you can refer this playlist which is displayed on your display. Or if you want to learn for loop and if loop, then you can refer these two videos. So until we meet again in our next video, till the time, bye bye.